Procrastination brings about those little white lies. Procrastination fosters the excuses that we tell ourselves. Little white lies and excuses that perpetuate that procrastination cycle. Hey, Tracy Brinkman here again from YourSuccessAtLast.com. We're here with entry number 2 in your Procrastination Series. Now, over the next few vlog entries, I want to bring you 10 tips for overcoming procrastination. And as I told you last time, being guilty of procrastination myself, I've come to learn that I'm not alone, and I'm hoping that these tips will help you as much, if not more, than they've helped me to tame that savage, success-sucking, self-esteem chipping, relationship-ruining, performance-bogging, and job-threatening beast known as procrastination. Now, in this entry, I want to focus on your excuses, because what I've found is that most procrastinators are really hopeful people. Well, at least the ones that take the time to absorb this kind of information. I mean, they pick a dream, they even make some plans and goals, and they break those goals down into tasks. And they even take that next step and break those tasks down into steps, all the while planning and talking about all the great things that they're going to accomplish when they reach their dreams and goals. But then the day comes when the road of planning and the road of talk ends, and the road of action begins. Now, at this juncture of the road, the procrastinator can make a right turn, or they can make a wrong turn, and that wrong turn is going to lead them right down Excuse Avenue. Now, we all know where most of the procrastinators go. Once procrastinators travel down planning lane as far as they can, and then what they're going to do is they're going to become really familiar with the twists and turns and dark alleyways that come along with Excuse Avenue. I mean, after all, once they can't come up with any excuses, they might actually have to take some action, right? So, we're going to spend the next couple of minutes going through the top 10 excuses used by most procrastinators. And I have to warn you, I'm going to be bringing up and exposing some really flimsy excuses that you personally might be using. So you've been warned. Here we are. The top 10 excuses used by procrastinators. Number 10. I need time to think about it before I can get started. Alright, this comes back to planning lane. I mean, really, how long do you need to think about it? A day? A week? A year? 5? 10 years? Let's put it this way. If there are 3 frogs sitting on a log, and one thinks about jumping off, how many are left? 3! He only thought about jumping off. I mean, gosh, take action now, even a little action. And if you have to think about it, set a limit. I'm going to think about it until tomorrow at 8 p.m. Then hold yourself to it, and then take action at 8:01. Number 9. All I do is work, work, work. I need some time for fun, for myself. Then I'll get started. Now, this one is only going to work for a short period of time. I mean, because how much celebrating can you... Well, wait a minute. You could do a lot of celebrating. But if you really stop spending all that time or putting all that time off, trust me, you'll get a lot of things to celebrate and a lot of time to celebrate it in. Number 8. Once I get organized, then I'll get going. Lots of procrastinators use this one because it appears like they're doing something. I mean, after all, if you've cleaned your entire office and reorganized your files, then you've accomplished something, right? But how much closer are you to your real dream? Not one bit. Number 7. It's too hard. Oh my God, would you like some cheese to go with that wine? This excuse perpetuates the poor me syndrome of procrastinators. The poor me mentality is important to a procrastinator because it enables him or her to believe in his or her excuses. Yes, it might be hard. It probably is hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and you'd probably already have it done. And there probably wouldn't be a reward for getting it done. Number 6. I'm not in the mood. This comes to the age-old adage of standing in front of the stove of life and saying, "Okay, stove, give me some heat and I'll put some wood in you." That's not how life works. You got to stoke that fire first. Because if you're going to wait for the mood to strike you, you're probably going to wait for a very long time. Or worse yet, you'll find yourself being struck by the mood when you can't take advantage of it. No, I say start and the mood will grow within you. Number 5. I will do this, the non-dream-oriented task, and start that, the dream-oriented task, tomorrow. So if you're wanting to diet, I'll eat this today, and I'll start my diet tomorrow. Tomorrow is procrastinator's favorite day. The fact is, if today's not good enough to start, then tomorrow's probably not going to be much better either. Start today. Number 4, I'll do this, the not dream-oriented task, first. Now, procrastinators will get a lot of things done, but not one of them is even remotely related to the task or the goal or the dream at hand. I mean, if you need to do the dishes, you're probably out sweeping the porch. If you need to sweep the porch, you're probably out doing the dish or in doing the dishes. Usually, this is not an excuse that's actually verbalized, but it's actually done in action instead. Before they spend one single minute on their true goal, they're like little task butterflies floating from one task to another, getting this started, getting this done, firing this up over here, but never really getting their true task going. And then hours and hours go by as they flit around like little butterflies. And then, once those hours and hours go by, they're able to use excuse number 3, I'm too tired. While there are many times that this excuse really has some validity, more often than not, it's just that, an excuse. Usually procrastinators have plenty of energy when they're thinking about their task. Right? But they have plenty of energy because if a best friend would call saying, hey, I need a fourth for golf, or hey, I need you want to come join us in a pickup game of basketball, or hey, let's go play some doubles of tennis, then they have all kinds of energy. But when the thought of their task enters their head, droopy eyes prevail and slumped shoulders can be found. Well, man up. Do your task anyway. Your body's an amazing machine. You start doing your task, it will get motivated. It will dig out the energy that you need to move you through. You'll be amazed. Number 2, hey, I've got plenty of time. There's not going to always be a tomorrow. I think Jim Rohn best said it when he was talking about it at a seminar. You don't have 20 more years. You have 20 more times. Think about it. If you go on a special trip with someone really close to you once a year, and you only have 20 more years, well, then you really only have 20 more trips. Well, that changes things. Because once you take this year's trip, you only have 19, then 18, and so on. It's not 20 years. It's 20 trips. Changes things a bit. Start today. And number 1, I work best under pressure. I saved this one for last for obvious reasons. I think I've heard this one more often than any of the other reasons, and in each and every one of the cases where I heard this reason, the result was only 1/2 of what it could have been. 1/2 at best. 1/2 of what it could have been if they'd have started when they really had more time. What I find most interesting is that all these excuses are most often told by procrastinators to themselves, not to others. They spend more time and mental energy telling themselves these little white lies than they would ever spend on their whole entire task or dream. And on top of that, while they're telling themselves these lies, they're demotivating themselves. Because inside, they know they're lying, which is bringing down their self-esteem and their self-worth. See, this is a vicious downward spiral. So stop telling yourself those little white lies, and you're going to be well on your way to slaying that savage, success-sucking, self-esteem chipping, relationship-ruining, performance-bogging, job-threatening beast known as procrastination. So, here are your success at last tasks for this session. Number 1, keep a mindful eye and an ear open for these and all the other excuses that you're telling yourself as you strive to accomplish that task that you picked out from last session. Number 2, review what you wrote down in the question I asked you about how not accomplishing the tasks and the goals you have in your mind and in your session when you wrote those down. What are all the negative things that are impacting you by you not getting it done? Review those that you wrote down last time, and then is there anything you can add to that? Number 3, review the excuses that you wrote down last time and determine that you are not going to believe these. Were some of the excuses you wrote down mentioned previously? Did you write those down? Did I talk about them earlier? And then number 4, here's your new one. Write down a reason why each one of the excuses you wrote down last session is not valid. So if you wrote down, I'm too tired, write down why it's not a true statement. Well, I'm usually not too tired. I could start it. Right? Write down all the reasons why it's not valid. Seriously, I want you to take these actions. Don't procrastinate it. Right? You're trying to beat that. That's why you're here. In the next part of this series, we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you some more tips, and I'm going to talk to you about exposing the price of putting it on. So until next time, think successfully and take action.